Welcome back, everyone, to the GGBL. Got the trades all processed, and I'm going to show you exactly what packages were included in each one of these trades. Last video posted yesterday afternoon talking about all of the voting results. So all the percentage breakdowns, all the pie charts, just so for transparency you can see what the heck happened. So let's get into the first trade, and then we're just going to run through all of the trades, talk about who did what, who went where. And then, of course, we're going to do a full-on simulation all of August and most of September. We're going to get all the way into, like, the last week of the regular season, kind of put together a playoff preview, if you will, and then we're going to get into a stream next Friday, which will be on the 7th. And then it might bleed into over the weekend. So, anyway, let's get right into the first trade. We got the Matt Justice trade. We're going to trade Joaquin Nieves, okay? 4.49 ERA, 1.54. Left-hander. He's got some work to do. He's 26, 68B. Solid. 6'5 lefty from Venezuela. Good cutter, splitter, change, slider. He's got some decent pitches, but of course he's not like an all-world player, but he's pretty solid. And, you know, with the B potential, he can grow up to be maybe a potential like relief guy for Wisconsin. You know that a lot of the starters in this league kind of hovering in the maybe like the 4s and 5s. The 4-5 starters are kind of hovering in the low 80s. So I don't think Nieves is ever going to get there, but he could be like a bullpen guy for them. He's already got 62 stamina. And then we're also going to trade this guy, top 50 prospect, Orlando Tapia. He's 26 years old, 70B. So really, the Maples get 2 B potential players who are kind of hovering in that 68 to 70 range. They're still fairly young, and we just get ourselves another first baseman here that could be our starter from Minnesota or Wisconsin again. I always get confused with the M. Should be flipped to be a W, but maybe that'll be a change later on. But you know, Matt Justice, 220. He's really just hitting some regression. He's never really been an amazing player outside of the first couple of years. Everything else has been, he's struggled a little bit these last few years from what he could be, right? So we really only got maybe three more seasons of Matt Justice, good baseball for Matt Justice, I think, until he starts to really fall off a cliff. But it's a good trade for us, and because we're not necessarily making a playoff push this year anyway. We're getting rid of Chris Addison, one of our better players. But it's a solid move for these guys. They need some outfielder help. It looks like they've got Estrada, Hills, Valentine, Aiden Oliver, right? But I mean, they don't have a lot of depth out in the corners, it seems like. So, getting another outfielder and a starting pitcher. All right, guys, so George Ariano is the next trade here that we're going to talk about. Of course, they've got Castilla, Quick, and Price. Price is on the come up. They're really acquiring Ariano just because of the leadership and the good player that he is, right? He's one of the elite hitters. He's one of the MVP in the GGBL. So where do you put Castilla? Where do you put Quick? That's a problem they're going to have to figure out later. But they can't give up Abraham Price. I realize that this is like a move that maybe makes sense because it's a potential player, right? And he's pretty good right now with his 77 overall. But when we go back and we look at LA, they don't really need Abraham Price. Price is just going to be stuck in the same situation. They've got Schmidt, they've got Drake Coleman Jr., who they believe in. It just kind of makes sense that Carolina would keep Abraham Price because LA doesn't really need him. So what does LA even need? Well, when I look at what their team looks like here, they've got a lot of older pitchers, right? Elior's getting up there at 29. They got some mid-30s guys already here, early 30s, if you will, with Secrets, Cherry, and Rudy. So those guys are starting to lose a little bit of regression right now, a little bit of their overall rating. So they need another pitcher, number one, and they need some outfielder help. Because we look at the right field spot, not a lot of good potentials there with C's and D's mixed in, guys that aren't really going to, become something. And then you've got center field with Almanzar and Traxler. They're not doing too much anymore. They've kind of hit their peaks already with their B potentials. And, C's and D's again here on the left field side. So, if anything, they need some outfielders. And that's where Carolina kind of comes in to help them for sure. Because we look at left fielders, anything here, well, you could go after my guy, Ethan Boone. This is a dude that I bought with channel points, and you know, he's pretty solid. Now, of course, I'm going to continue to upgrade him with channel points as we go along, but you know, 1 home run, 7 stolen, 5 caught, good OBP, 300 batting average, good player. He's 19 years old, so he's still got room to grow at 65B, and those are some pretty good tools to improve your game. So Ethan Boone's going to be part of this trade, but that's obviously just kind of a throw-in player at this point. But I think when we look at the pitching, I think you got to go after Hondo Ricardo. I think Hondo is a custom guy. I'd have to go take a look at that. I think that makes sense because he's 2175B. I believe he's a custom guy, but he's performing well. He's 9-7 down there in Double-A. He's only going to continue to progress, and as a 75B at 21 years old, it makes sense for them. Now, I teetered on thinking that maybe they potentially, Carolina, should get rid of one more player. They should throw one more player into this mix, but I think when you're talking about custom players, and I think when you're talking about guys that we know are going to be upgraded with channel points, I think this is enough, you know, for LA. You're going to get these guys upgraded. You're going to get these guys on steroids, basically, where their overall ratings is going to rise every single season if their owner is going to put channel points into them, right? It just, I think it's enough. You know, if we had another player thrown in, maybe it starts getting a little too crazy. But maybe 2 players that are young, 19 to 21, B potential players. They're already in their 70s as an overall. I think it makes sense for LA and for Carolina, because again, Ariano's 33 years old. He's seeing a lot of regression as it is right now, and it's only going to get worse. So if you're Carolina, don't want to give up too much, but if you're LA, we got to consider the fact, like, you know, how much is too much when you're talking about 2 custom players going there to LA. So that'll be the trade that happens for LA and Carolina. Next trade up here, we got the good boys in the Breeze. So Chris Adderson going to be traded to Chicago, and I think it's a 2-for-1 deal. He's a 90+ overall catcher, and he can play the outfield. It's a good get for the Breeze in their postseason push. And for Richmond, like, we know kind of what we're getting here, right? He's a 30+-year-old player. I think what we need to do is we need to bolster the pitching staff. I like to have arms. That's kind of how this whole team was built, really. And honestly, I don't see anything else here as far as, like, positionally speaking that we would end up liking. I kind of like the idea of Lane Nash. He's kind of solid, but the C potential worries me a little bit there. Everything else, I just don't see a whole lot that we could acquire from these guys. So, like, age-wise, you got Cy Burkhart, another shortstop at 75. He's a solid player, good defender, but, you know, it's really not, like, it's not pushing over the top for me, right? And even like Isaiah Askew, I don't want that guy. So for me, I think what makes the most sense for us is we need to rebuild the pitching staff a little bit. And I think going to go get a guy like Carson Vanderhouse, who's never really had a chance. He's never pitched outside of season number 2 for Chicago. If you guys remember, he was traded from another organization to the Breeze. This is like part of season 2's trade day or something. And he's never had an opportunity since. And he deserves it. He's an 82 overall pitcher, and he's never gotten the opportunity to do it. Chicago's had a really good staff these last couple of seasons. And I think for us, we love our pitching. We love bullpen depth. I think it makes the most sense. And he's 33 years old, so we're kind of taking a little bit of a hit there. Plus, I'm also going to go after Timmy Gilmore. I had a debate here whether or not I wanted to go after Chavez or Gilmore. They both do a couple things a little bit differently. So Chavez strikes out a lot of guys, right? He's got a 60K per 9. Gilmore's got a 62K per 9. But you look at the difference there, right? 103 innings, 115 innings, 88 Ks to 46 walks, 76 Ks to 32 walks. Chavez seems to be like the flamethrower type of guy, and actually that's what he does, is 95 fastball, 84 change, 81 curve. Like, that appeals to me. So if I were to acquire Henry Chavez, I couldn't get Carson Vanderhouse. I think that might be a little bit too much. So what we're going to do, because he's got a little bit too much talent, and plus he's two more years younger than Timmy Gilmore. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go after some control softy type of pitchers like Gilmore and Vanderhouse. So this 1-2 punch right here, 82 and 79 overall players. I think it's a good get. You look at Gilmore, what he's bringing to the table. He's a right-hander, 93. The slider drops down by, what is that, 9 miles an hour. Curveball is 79. So he's just kind of a soft tossing control type of pitcher. Something we don't really have a lot of in our bullpen. So I think that this 1-2 punch here makes a lot of sense. Left-hander, right-hander. Let's go get these guys for Chris Addison. All right, guys, so the next trade here up on the board is Baldrick Raynell. We've talked about him ad nauseum, it feels like. 225 batting average this year, 205 last year, 227, 233. He's just not a guy that's going to hit for a lot of contact. He's also not a guy that's going to get on base a lot either. He can steal some bags. He's pretty efficient at that, but he will hit you some home runs. He's a good power type guy, very good fielder, very good speed. It's just kind of his game. Speed, fielding, and power. That's kind of what his raw attributes really are. So if we're looking at Houston and kind of like what do they need, I don't think outfield is in the mix. I mean, they've got some really good players here. Chris Horner, 65A. He's got a long way to go, but they have some really good potential here. They got Rico, who's 26, 86A. You've also got Tyron Rex in the mix there. Cabrera's still pretty young, right? You've got some really good talent with the outfielders, so they just don't need outfielders. The one thing I'm seeing with Houston, they need third base. Bad. They don't have a lot of depth there. They've got some good pieces, some solid pieces with Parks and Samuels with the good potential and solid overalls, but really, I mean, their cap is, I mean, they're starting to reach their cap here at a B potential. So I just look at third base as a weakness. They've got second base locked down with Jay Kinney. They've got Joey Bing at shortstop. They've got that figured out. So really the only piece on the infield that really needs to get fixed seems to be like third base. And you guys voted for Michigan as the team to acquire Baldrick Raynell. And it makes sense for them. They've got Novoa, Torres, Humberto starting to get regression there. Puckett's doing fine. But really, when you look at this team, they need a little bit more power from the outfield spots. I mean, Torres is a guy that can supply that power, but he's like Raynell as it is, you know, except he's a little bit lesser of an overall player. And he's older, right? Torres is older than Raynell. So when I look at what Michigan can offer, they could go out and they could offer Manuel Pryor. That could be a guy. Or even Malcolm Hess. Malcolm Hess can play third base. He's an 80 overall, A potential, 25-year-old guy. He's never gotten the chance in the big leagues. Never gotten a chance. If you went with the Manuel Pryor angle, Pryor can play the outfield, which again, they don't necessarily need. Houston doesn't necessarily need that. So I look at like Pryor and Hess as two options for Houston. That's a lot to ask for though. Two A potential players, two young guys. So it's got to be like one or the other, I feel like. You know, getting rid of a guy like Baldrick Raynell is a 90 plus overall, A potential. He might turn into a really solid player if he can get the contact figured out. I just feel like that might be a little bit too much to ask for Michigan. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to give Malcolm Hess a chance. We're going to give him a shot. So it's going to be Hess that's involved in the deal. Plus, I look at Houston and I know that Michigan has a ton of really good pitchers. Look at what they've got going on here, guys. I mean, this has been a story for the last couple of seasons. Their first 5 pitchers, starters, are in the 90s. They've got pitching to spare. I thought about maybe throwing in Wade Russell into the deal, but again, he's already close to Raynell's overall as it is with age and potential and overall rating. So I think we'll pass on including Wade Russell into the mix. Don't want to throw Hawkins into the mix because he's just a big piece to this rotation. So I think maybe throwing in Miguel Salazar is a good compromise. He's 21 years old, 77 overall. Not going to strike out a bunch of people, but look at the walks per 9 and the hits per 9. So already he's a very solid pitcher, and he's doing it in sim. 13-3, 60 Ks, 23 walks. The ERA is spectacular. The whip is even better, and he's progressing, and he's got a good mix there. Four seam, slider, change, sweeping curve. It's a solid little mix there. So I think Miguel Salazar would be a good addition there to this deal. So you get Hess and you get Miguel Salazar into the mix. Plus, we're going to throw in one more player, and it's going to be Cesar Ramos, an 81 overall B potential closer, which I think he'll probably end up being like a setup guy. So really they get 2 B potentials, an A potential third base shortstop, and I think that's going to help them out for sure. I mean, look at what they've got already with their back end of the bullpen. They've got Jimenez, Nola, Spears. I mean, you add to this pitching staff like that into the bullpen here. I think Cesar Ramos does a job there for Houston. So they just get better with their pitching. They add in another third baseman. I think it's a good deal for them. I think it's a good deal for both teams, actually. Speaking of third base, we're going to stick here with that position and talk about Jimbo Crawford getting moved out to San Francisco. So the funny thing is San Francisco is a weird spot. I didn't want to throw in all NL West teams that were in the playoff mix and leave San Francisco out, because I mean they were still technically in it too. They should have a shot. So it's kind of funny that that's how that worked out, but it's literally the worst team in the West that he could possibly go to, that Jimbo could possibly head to, because you look at their situation. Timothy Pierce is still playing pretty well. He's pretty solid still, an 81 overall player. Regression settling in, but you know they kind of need Jimbo Crawford in a sense. Does Timothy Pierce lose his job? Does he move to DH? I don't know. Because if you did that, I mean, you've still got some guys like Lloyd and these other players that could play third. That's still not getting Wisconsin back value if you try to give them a younger third baseman, right? If you're following along with me here. And then the A's here with Mashburn and Warlock, you can't really block those guys. So you can't move Pierce over to first base to block Warlock, because Warlock's better and Mashburn's better. I mean, I guess Mashburn can play the outfield. And then you got a catching issue here with Fredington Grant, 92A. You got Ruben Law, Stoitsiadis, 92A, 88B. Like, these guys are still good. They're at a logjam with catchers, first baseman, and third baseman. So it's like, where does Jimbo Crawford even fit into this mix? So it's a very, very tough trade to pull off. But I think you just go 1 for 1. I think you just go Grand the third for Jimbo Crawford. Boom. 92 A's. They're both 92 A's. Swap them. Fredington Grand the third can catch. Freddie Altoro, the guy right below him, can play first base. So it seems like on the surface, it actually helps Wisconsin more than it does San Francisco. But I still think San Francisco freeing up that catcher spot allows them to do a little bit more stuff on offense. But we'll see how it all pans out for them. Okay, now for Pittsburgh, they're going to get rid of their top-end closer, Cody Davis. And I'm thinking, what do they need? So I'm looking around. They got Jordan Van, Jethro Douglas Jr. You've got the right fielder, Zach Zumwalt, Ryan Smith. Even Middleton's not that bad, not really that high up there in age. So they've still got some nice players in the outfield. So I'm not really thinking outfield's an issue. I'm thinking maybe second base. They need some depth there, and I think maybe Sean Hutchins might be the guy. He's got a little bit more offense than Chad Masterson, but that's really intriguing to look at Masterson, 78A, 22. He fields well, he's fast, he can steal a bag. He's just going to be a good player for a long time, but he's going to have to work on that offensive side of his game, which I think will come. But if you want a dude that's going to be like an immediate impact player, it could be Sean Hutchins. And I think at 23, 82B, for a closer, especially for a closer, this probably is a little bit more realistic. So, I mean, I guess you could have done Masterson for Davis as a one-off, a 1-for-1, but I think this is going to probably help Pittsburgh a little bit more than just a 1-for-1. So, Mari Ferreira, a flame-throwing starting pitcher, 206 from Columbia, and then you got Sean Hutchins, the hitting second baseman, heading out to Pittsburgh. So good trade for both teams. Now this, I admittedly did not remember that Finney was that good. He's a 97A overall pitcher, but he's only got 2 more seasons on his contract. St. Louis wants to move on. They gotta give up something to get something if you're Vancouver, right? You gotta give up one of your top pitching prospects, plus Donald Karros, a 92A outfielder. That will help St. Louis. Unfortunately for Karros, he was a victim of the CPU roster manipulation happening here. Some guys just didn't get called up. They were down there in the minor leagues. They'll also get Joe Cotter, 84A. He had not been getting a lot of at-bats. He's also stuck down in the minor league level, and I don't think that was part of the roster glitch. I think that was just because he's an 84, and there's not very much room. So 3 for 1. Finney for all those 3 really good players. I think it's a solid move. Now, for Nashville and Miami, Miami's going to get rid of PJ Sparbori, an 89 overall catcher. You guys have seen him in gameplay. For these 2 80 overall B potential guys, D'Angelo Durant, 80 second baseman, and then Simon Petty's got like, what was it, 29 home runs I think I saw in the minors. So yeah, he's got some pop there too. So that'll help both squads. Nashville for their playoff chase, and Miami for their future. So we just get a little quick update across the league and all the divisions and how everything's looking. But I'm interested in seeing how the things are going there with the Mighty Beavers. And not too good. They do this every year, guys. Every year they do something like this. So starting on the 8th all the way to the 28th, they went 2-17 in 19 games. They went 2-17. The month started off pretty good. They were 5-2, and then all of a sudden, from the 8th to the 28th, these guys went 2-17. Man, what are they doing? And then they allowed. They're still above 500, but they allowed the Grizzlies to come roaring back. 72-63 for San Francisco. So the trade has been working for San Francisco. The Heat and the Swing are still duking it out there in the Central. The Monarchs are on the come up though. And then in the East, what's really surprising about the East is you got the good boys still hanging in there. Like, I know we got Matt Justice, but that's not like gonna put us over the top. We got rid of one of our better players with Chris Addison. And yet still, we're still here. We're still hanging in there. But the Sting and the Blue Sox, that's kind of the story here. I don't think the good boys are going to make it. I just don't. I think we're out. We got a whole nother month left to play, guys. And we're going to do some more simming here. Again, getting all the way up until the final week of September. But, yeah, man, it's just it's a crazy story, man. Good boys still hanging in. Lost the series against Orlando. Won the series against San Diego. Yeah, we're playing like 500 level ball. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of crazy. We're still 7th ranked. We're 2 games out of the wild card. We're still hanging in there. That's just nuts to me. But what about the Sting? Their pitching rotation here. Strizak, 10-10. Triggs, 16-5. Strudwick, Hudson Malone, Diego, Almanzar, Lazar, Clark, and Davis. So, you know, their bullpen is a strength. Their pitching is a strength for sure. I'd watch out for the Sting. Crawfish. Pinkard's got 24 and 304. Aguero's doing well. Carver, 24. Look at the home runs, guys. Oh my God! Look at Clifford Durham. This was a good boy last season, man. He's 32 years old and he's performing like this. This is his best career. This is his career year right here. Wow, 37 bombs. It's because he's more protected. I feel like he's got Carver, Aguero, Pinkard. He's just driving in runs, man. That's awesome. 37 and 97. He's nuts. He's driving this offense, man. So I'm happy for the Sting. I think they're gonna make it. They got one more month left. I think they're gonna make it. What do we got here for the Moonshots? How is Pinkard playing now? 6 homers, 252. Okay, but you know it's just not enough. Not enough for Miami to do anything. Orlando, I thought that they might have had a little fight in them. They're 3-7 in their last 10, and it just, you know, hasn't worked for them. They're 3rd. What a disappointing season. What a disappointing season. They are top 10 in every category other than defense and speed. 3rd ranked according to MLB The Show, and they can't muster up enough to be a legitimate contender. That's crazy to me. Firebirds, Nuggets, they're tied currently. Coyotes, Bandits, and Cyclones continue to struggle. Nothing really to write home about because none of those teams made any trades. Because we kind of know what's driving them, right? Offense, pitching, so on and so forth. But the Reapers and the Breeze still in first place. Nothing has changed with those guys. But again, with the Reapers, it comes down to pitching. And honestly, I haven't really seen this strong of a rotation, numbers-wise, production-wise, in a little while. So you got Shepard, 309, Strawman, 397. Hood is fine. Like, that's, you know, it's an offensive league again. Those are fine numbers. So I look at the Reapers. And I'm pretty impressed, guys. I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing here. Giuseppe, 15 bombs. It's a good team, man. They've got most everybody's got double digits in home runs except for Andino. Go figure that. But Justy Jeffrey, 21 bombs, 290. It's a good team. It's a good team. Watch out for them. Cardinals are 9-1 in their last 10. They're coming back a little bit. It's kind of crazy. Look at all the last 10s. 5-5, 5-5, 9-1. Now, what about the Breeze? What are they doing? How's Chris Addison doing here? He was hitting 290 with Richmond. Now he's down to 270. So seems like he's hitting a little regression there. But again, solid team. Yeah, not a lot of power with this team. Nobody has 30 home runs. In fact, only one guy on the team, Douglas Pringle, has 20 home runs. Everybody's kind of hovering and flirting with 20, but no one on this team has more than 20 than just one guy. But really the driving factor here is their pitching, and that's pretty impressive rotation too. So I think that's what's driving both these teams, Reapers and Breeze. It's all about the pitching. It's all about the pitching. Mallards, 78 wins. Revolution are 6.5 back. The Swamp Monsters are still fighting. It's kind of crazy that the Hammers are nearing 500. They're 8 games back. I mean, just look at this. We got an entire month left to play. I mean, most of the time that you get past 5 games, these teams are out of the mix. But anything can happen, guys. Anything can happen. We just saw Vancouver go like what was it, 2-17 in the month, at least up until that point, that week stretch. That's nuts to me, man. But we got Firebirds, Nuggets, Revolution, Swamp Monsters all fighting for wild card spot, and then the Breeze, of course. And then for the NL, we'll take one more look at that again. The Monarchs are, dude, I told you, don't sleep on the Monarchs. They are coming in hot, man. You got to watch out for them. Interesting teams to watch. I think when you look at the wild card races, of course, we want to follow along with the Breeze. That's a crucial one. The Revolution, Swamp Monsters. And then the NL, of course, you've got the Blue Sox, the Good Boys, Mighty Beavers, Monarchs. Let's follow the Monarchs and see if they are going to pull together and get this thing done. Let's do that. Let's get all the way, because they got some crucial matchups here. We got New Orleans, they got Vegas, they got some good teams that they're playing against here. And of course, Columbus is hot. So let's get up here to the 16th, and let's see what happens, man. I'm a little nervous because I'm not on my Good Boys, and I can't see what's going to happen to them. I'm a little bit nervous. We'll just get right past all this crap. And all right, looks like we're past it. All right, so where are we at here? So the Monarchs, I don't think they did enough. I think some of these games, like this 8-9 game and 15-6 and 10-3, they should have done a lot more. But let's back out, man. Let's back out and see what are we looking at now. So the Swing have dropped a lot of games, but I think when you're 83-66, you should be making the postseason. They've gone 3-7 in their last 10. Let's see what we got here. The Good Boys. Oh my God, they're a game and a half back. How do we keep doing it, man? How do we keep doing it? The Blue Sox. What's going on with the Blue Sox? The Sun Sox are coming back up though. They're 8-2, but they're not making it. At best, they might go like mid-70s, you know. But dude, what is happening with the Good Boys? What happened? Dude, look at what we're doing. We swept LA. We beat Atlanta. Look at the pitching. 1-0. 1-0. Did we throw a no-no? No. Carolina, we lost the series. We beat New Orleans. We won the New Orleans series. Wow. What did that do to New Orleans? Oh my God. The Swing are in as it stands right now. Swing, Grizzlies, Emeralds, Good Boys, Blue Sox. Oh my God. The Good Boys. Why does this keep happening to them? Matt Justice is bringing his batting average back up. I think he was like a 220. Dude, what is going on with this team? Why do they keep doing this stuff? All right, let's. What are the Sting doing now? Pinkerton's now to 25. Dude, Clifford Durham's got 40 bombs. Are you kidding me? Imagine where the good boys would be if we had him still. If we didn't let him go. It wasn't even our choice. Like, he wanted out. But he's really panned out, man. We had our eyes on him. Like, we traded for him from San Antonio. And now he's just killing it. Carver. Dude, I think the Sting are going to do something in the postseason. I'm kind of nervous about the Sting. But what... I mean, I think the story right now is the Blue Sox. And we got a huge series right here. Blue Sox and Good Boys. Starting up. It's Van Montgomery against Torrey Roby. Ooh, that might be a good live stream episode right there. Wow. Okay, so what's going on? Where's Ariano? 251, 30 bombs, 81 ribbies. He's doing his part. Gonzalez kind of picking it up there a little bit. 28 and 93 for Castilla, 26 and 80 for Castro. So I don't know. Keelan Okoye, 20 and 67. So I don't know. I don't really see what their problem is. Is it pitching? Roby, Nettles, Cheltenham, Maria. No, pitching's really good. Is it the bullpen? The bullpen's just killing them? I think so. Paul Neebly's got 13 blown saves. That's what it is. They're blowing a bunch of games. They're blowing a bunch of games. Crazy. The Nuggets. Oh my God, the Nuggets. For now, they've overtaken Phoenix. Look at this series. You got a 3-game set here. Late September. Oh my God. I think these races are still too close. I think we're going to have to simulate the Good Boys in Carolina here. Because then you've got Nuggets and Firebirds, and if we watch an hour-long video of, a live stream of this series, and what? So the Good Boys win and then they lose 2? Like, what did we really accomplish? So I think we might just decide to get into the last week. Just get into the last week. Nuggets and Firebirds fighting for the AL West. The Reapers are still in first place. The Cardinals, dude. The Cardinals are on the comeback trail. What did they do, man? They were dead. They were dead. Sweep Kansas City. Win the series against Minnesota twice. Win the series against San Antonio. And then, yeah, they just got hot, dude. They swept Phoenix. They just started winning series. Dude, what? Columbus is on the comeback trail. The Breeze are losing it here. Cardinals are a 1.5 games back. That's a big series coming up. Yeah, that's a big series. Look at this. Final 3 games of the year for them. Wow, dude. Wow. Mallards. Dude, the Revolution. 82 and 68. They've gotten it kind of figured out. I wonder if KAJ's playing better. Not really. 257. Jupe's at 283. Satchel's doing fine. Raekwon's doing fine. Offense is a little meh. I'm not really too excited about the offense, but we've talked about it before. It's the pitching. The pitching is really what's driving this team. Myers is doing a little bit better. The Mallards, I think we got to look at like what's Baldrick Raynell doing, right? Where is he at? He's a 94 now. He was a 91, 92 when he got traded. Now he's up to a 94. 228. Is it OBP going up a little bit? He's having a career year. Most home runs, most ribbies, highest OBP. He's kind of figuring it out a little bit. Pitching staff: Bloodworth, Choi, Donnellan, Lothbrock, Hawkins, Russell, Binks. Dude, they're nasty. They're nasty. If you wanted my pick right now, I kind of like the Mallards. And in the NL, I kind of like the Sting. The Grizzlies. Dude, what? What is going on right now? Jimbo, 16 and 245. 46 bombs for Trey Mashburn. Holy moly, dude. Vito Vega, 30. Dude, this team is crazy too. I might pick the Grizzlies. They got 2 guys on their team with 106 ribbies. Mashburn and Vega. And then they just went out and acquired Jimbo Crawford. What about the rotation? Burnside, Lentz. I don't like the rotation. If they're gonna get far, it's got to be the offense. This is crazy. Look at that month of August, bringing them back from the dead, dude. A lot of teams coming back from the dead. This is nuts. What's going on with Seattle, by the way, too? Seattle's really kind of dropping the ball. Look at what they did here. They had a big series against San Fran, didn't get it done. Equally important series against San Diego. You got to beat them. Kind of made up some ground with St. Louis, but again, lost another series. They got one game. They pulled off one game from San Diego. So Seattle's blowing it too. They might let the Monarchs sneak in. So this is pretty crazy. So I'm going to kind of go series by series right now. And I think an important one here would be Richmond and Carolina. So let's sim. And yeah, we get some more wins, man. We get some more wins. Wow. Okay, so the good boys, 84 and 72. We're tied right now with Carolina, by the way. So Carolina kept on winning. They beat Orlando, and so basically we didn't really figure anything out. Yeah, they won one game against us, and they lost one game against Orlando. So the Sting continue to win. Good boys 2 games back. Blue Sox 2 games back. The Monarchs, oh, dude, the Mighty Beavers, they lost 4. They do this every year. It's not even fun. Dude, I'm laughing, but it's not even funny anymore with this team. Why do they do this? They do this every single year. It gets down to crunch time, and they just plummet, dude. Why do they do that? The Monarchs, though, their elimination number is 2. So really, the battle for the wild card right now is between these 4 teams. Like, I think the Monarchs are done. The battle right now is between these 4 teams, and there's 3 spots for 4 teams. Blue Sox, Good Boys, Emeralds, and Swing. The Swing are the surprise, to be honest. Like, look at the runs scored. They're scoring 799 runs. That's the best offense in the NL. That's crazy. Let's take a look at that. Just one more time. What are they doing? How are they doing that? Look at the ribbies. 74, 50, 63 from Ricky, 75, 71 from Coop Waller, 98 from Russell France, 85 from... They just drive in runs. They're a good team, man. And then, of course, then you got the pitching staff, right? Robbie Meyer's been amazing. Jonah Hendricks, Giuliani, Bo Pena, Blaze Ers. Dude, they're just solid, top to bottom. What else is going on here? The Heat are still in first place. We knew that. The Sting, Nuggets still holding on, man. They're still holding on over the Firebirds. That's crazy to me. Oh, the Breeze. Oh no. Oh, they made a good trade. They made a good trade to get Addison, and it's not working. The Cardinals, dude, are they in it right now? So the Nuggets and Firebirds have clinched no matter what happens. The Cardinals are 2 games back. The Breeze are still alive. They got an elimination number of 4. And those last 3 games might not even matter. If the Revolution and the Swamp Monsters keep winning, those last 3 games of that series might not even matter. So I think we got to watch the Swamp Monsters right now, or we stick to the Breeze here and we see kind of what they're going to do. But yeah, there's your picture. So as far as the standings go, Emeralds still can get the West. The Swing can still get the Central. The Good Boys and the Blue Sox are still duking it out. But as far as teams that have already clinched, it's Nuggets and Firebirds. So everything else is kind of up for grabs right now. Any series that we can kind of tune into? Definitely this one. Definitely this one. Columbus as well with Iowa. Vegas and Phoenix for sure. This is a big one right here. Atlanta, this is kind of important for them. Yeah, so this week is really important. This is huge too. This is a good I don't know, man. I'm thinking about maybe there's a lot of games to do. I think let's just sim it. Let's just keep going. Okay, so Nashville dropped 2 games here. They won 1. So let's get a little bit of a reset here as we go into the final 3 games of the season. To set it up for you, the Heat are a game ahead of the Swing. The Grizzlies are a game ahead of the Emeralds. The Mighty Beavers have been eliminated. The Good Boys are 80. They've won 87 games. The Emeralds and the Blue Sox. The Monarchs are done. So again, we know nothing. We figured out nothing. Blue Sox, Emeralds, and Good Boys. All at 87 wins. The Mallards have clinched the best record in the league. No surprise there. The Revolution are in the playoffs, so they kind of turned KAJ around a little bit. The Reapers are still continuing to play well. The Breeze are done. The Cardinals have a elimination number of 1, meaning their chances at winning the Central. But the Nuggets and Firebirds are in the playoffs no matter what. But again, there's only 3 spots. And Firebirds and Revolution right now, they're your wild card teams. And we still have to figure out Cardinals, Swamp Monsters, or Breeze. So yeah, it is going to come down. At least, let's put it this way. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place. Let's put it this way. It's going to come down to what the Swamp Monsters do. The Cardinals need to hope that, they control their own destiny at this point, really. Kind of, in a way. If they keep winning, the Swamp Monsters have to keep winning. That matchup between the Cardinals and Breeze, you got to really hope that the Swamp Monsters lose all 3 games at that point. That's who those AL Central teams are rooting against. They're rooting against Washington. They want Michigan to get W's in that series. So that's really the only pathway for the Central teams, Cardinals or Breeze, to get in. They got to hope the Swamp Monsters keep losing. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They got to hope that they keep losing. So that's your AL look. Again, we still have to figure out the divisional winners. Reapers, Cardinals, Mallards are in, but they've already won the division no matter what. And then on the NL side, what you've got going on here, the Swing and the Heat, we still don't know who's going to win that division. They've been duking it out all year long. You got the East, 3 teams vying for 1 spot. That's kind of crazy. And then the West, Grizzlies and Emeralds coming down to the wire. So what do we got? What are our series looking like here? So we know Chicago, Columbus. We've talked about that one. Both of those teams, this is going to be a battle. A big-time battle. And then you just got to hope that Washington loses, right? So that's going to be crucial. Of course, Iowa and Boston, that's important too, because Iowa's still trying to win their division. Boston is already in the playoffs no matter what, so there's no really nothing really for them to play for technically. Carolina's got Orlando. Richmond's got Miami, so that's important too. Kansas City, New Orleans. New Orleans still in the mix for the NL Central, but KC's out of it. Phoenix and San Fran. That's a tough draw for San Fran. And I guess, and Phoenix. Tough draw for them too. Only because Phoenix is trying to win their division. They want to win that division. But San Francisco trying to do the same thing. So you know what? I'm just gonna sim this. I'm gonna sim the 28th. And we're gonna see where that takes us. We're getting a little bit closer to a live stream. Okay, so the Reapers, they won, which means that they've clinched their division. Cardinals are eliminated from division contention. The Firebirds, despite winning, the Nuggets also won their last game, so they've won their division. So at least we know the division winners in the AL. What we don't know is the wild card. The Breeze beat the Cardinals. The Swamp Monsters beat the Mallards. They're on a one-game winning streak right there. They've snapped their three-game loss streak. So the Breeze cannot lose. If they lose, they're done. The elimination number is 1. They lose, they're done. And they also need to hope that the Swamp Monsters lose as well. The Sting. So the Good Boys got a loss. That hurts them. Blue Sox get another W. They're on fire. They've won 5 in a row. The Sting, 1 game ahead. The Heat are into the postseason, even despite the loss that they just had. Monarchs have won 6 games, but it's a little too late. Grizzlies have a loss. Emeralds got a loss. So we really didn't figure out anything with those guys. And we still don't know anything about the wild card. So, yeah, there's a lot to figure out. I think it's going to get down to game 162. You got Chris Jackson and Janio Rivera. I would hate to sim that game right here, right now. And then you got Ibanez and Cairo potentially in game 162. Now, for other matchups, you got Peterson and Bloodworth. So, again, if you're Chicago Columbus, you're hoping that Bloodworth does his job. Michaels against Shepard. Varnando against Battle. Borgia and Nettles. We might have to do like an extravaganza, man. Seriously. We might have to do like a GGBL playoff push extravaganza. Game 161 and 162s. We've got a lot of stuff to figure out, guys. So, hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. Leave a like if you like this thing. I will see you guys next Friday for the stream as we solidify the playoff picture, and we'll do a little preview of that, and we'll get into Season 7 postseason, man. I'm excited for it. Before I leave you guys, I do want to share with you the awards races. Stoitz has got 40 bombs. This is really tough, but he started off real slow, but now he's right back into it. 40 home runs, 131, dude. He's going to win it for the 3rd straight season. That's insanity. On the NL side, this is tough too. Very tough battle. You got Ward, but you got Mashburn with 247. I honestly, dude, you can't really argue against 48 home runs, can you? I mean, Durham's doing well. He's got the batting average too, though. 8 home runs less, 2 less RBIs, but a better batting average. I'd probably consider going Clifford Durham, but they like Mashburn with all the homers. Bloodworth, 19 wins, 250 strikeouts for Omar Negron. What is that? He's 23 years old. What, dude? What is this guy? His K per 9's a 99. What in the world? Where did this guy come from? 250 strikeouts. It's insanity. Trig Matthews, 202. Juwan Rutkin. I've seen him before. Kind of crazy. Batting title, Dom Taylor. Hernandez is up there, 340. I'd give it to Hernandez. Why were we giving it to Dom Taylor? 5 less homers, nearly 40 less RBIs. Give it to Angel, man. What are we doing? DEG, Tyron Rex, Parveen Mira. NL Central battle right there for the batting title. And that's kind of a low batting average for batting title. You look at the AL, and you got 2 guys hitting 340, and then Karev 327. Reliever of the year, Christian Parmalee. Teddy Hitchcock. You got Gunner up there too. And then Rookie of the Year, Drake Coleman. but he's hitting 216. Got Sven Ragnarsson too, Pedro Murillo, Cedric Dorman, Bradford Potts, Tom Ruiz, and then Hank Aaron. Marshall Langston, my boy, 309 for Marshall. All right, guys. Well, like I said, that's it for today's video. Long one, but I think it was well worth the wait. Don't you think? A lot of trades went through. Got some good sim in, and I'll see you guys next Friday for the playoff push. Game 161 and game 162s potentially coming up next Friday. So, guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and